Here we are. Another Saturday. I ain't got nobody. Another Saturday night. So welcome, everybody, to another live stream. Starting this one a little bit early today because I got a show I got to get to. But I just wanted to make this short and sweet today. I have a bunch of new content that's coming out, different types of content. I also want to say a little channel update. We did it. Thank you guys very much. Channel is fully monetized, so hopefully we can continue this trend and continue the channel growing. Hello, Bill. How you doing? So just going to talk a little bit about what's going on. Got a couple of new videos coming up. One that we talked about last week a little bit on the stream about just different rockabilly ideas, different soloing ideas for rockabilly. So I just put a quick video together in one key and just went over a couple of different riffs and kind of made a solo out of a bunch of different riffs together that and you could take and break down and grab a little piece here, grab a little piece there, or whatever. And also just kind of show you the idea between playing different riffs, but also have these transitional lines from riff to riff to riff. So you can have a riff like this, right? Or like that. And then where do you go from there, right? So then you could go to something like that, but you might want to switch it up a little bit and just do walk up a scale. So it's leading into another riff that you have in mind, as opposed to just playing riffs like that and then something like that, right? Whatever you want to do. I just kind of think about things as the music is coming to me, and I know what chord I'm over, so I know what's going to work, what's not going to work. And if you think in terms of riff scales and modes, you're usually going to be pretty good. Let's see. Also have an update for, besides that video, the next lesson video on a specific song is Bebopalula, and it's a simple tune. I'm not really going to go over the structure of it as far as the verses and things. It's really just going to focus on the solo. I've always liked the sound of the Cliff Gallup solo, so it'll be fun to learn it note for note for me, and also to share that with you guys as well, and have the tablature and everything. And I haven't done a Gene Vincent tune yet, so might as well start with that one, right? Then after that, I'm going to start the beginner series. Just start from the very beginning. All of this stuff will, of course, be categorized through playlists in the channel, so everything will be easy to find. And then we have the podcast thing coming. I've just been waiting to get to this point in the channel where it can get out there a little bit better for people, as opposed to just going into the ether and nobody seeing it. I did have a question this week, and I want to try to answer it on stream, but I'm going to do another video on this as well. And it's the finger picking question. So the question was, and I used to have the same problem, where you get kind of mess yourself up when you're playing between your thumb and your fingers. And it's easy to play the notes at the same time, right? That's easy. It's the alternating, and you can even play alternating. It's when you have to go back and forth between the two, or if there's a hammer-on involved, specifically. So my recommendation for that is to just play, in that case, find a pattern like that. So I'm just going thumb, second finger, middle finger, and then back to thumb, and hitting the third string, the B. So I'm in G, G to B. Back to thumb. You're just alternating between the two. And then, when you go back to the thumb the second time, go up with your ring finger and hit the top G. So you're just going 1 3 1 1 3 1. That's without the thumb. Then try to throw in that little hammer on. And if you can't quite get that, just do one note at a time. Like that. That's how I did it. That's how I started doing it. Then eventually you can start alternating back and forth. And then in the middle there, you can pick them all at the same time. However you want to. If you want to play it alternating all the time or go back and forth. I kind of like to go back and forth between picking them at the same time and then doing that. You are kind of, the thumb is always playing the 1, 2, 3, 4. It's always playing the downbeats, but it's hard to get them to work independently. And so you kind of trick your brain, I guess, is the best way to describe it, where you're thinking of it as a pattern as opposed to trying to get them independently. Because I would sit there for hours and just do that, and then I say, okay, and then I just play the whatever, right? Or the Travis style. It's like the Travis style thing, right? I would try to think of those things independently because that's the way you're usually taught, right? And then your fingers are separate. But I could never get them to go together, so I'd always think of it as a specific pattern. So in the case of Travis style, I know I'm picking the 5th string and the 1st string at the same time. And then alternating the 4 to the 3. And I think of it and talking about string numbers here. And your thumb specifically is only going to be playing the bottom 3 strings. Sometimes you'll play, depending on the song, sometimes your middle finger or something, or first finger, if you're playing with a thumb pick, will play the D string, but typically that's not common. But sometimes that does happen. But as far as your thumb goes, it's always going to be playing the bottom 3. So yeah, I would just go pick those 2, 5, 5th string and the 1st string, and then alternate the 4th to the 3rd. And after that, it's a low E. Then the 2nd string, back to the 4th. So the only 2 strings that are struck together is the very first note. Everything else is alternating. And so I never really thought of it as independent until I started until I wanted to play the Chet Atkins stuff. And that's when it's really, really started. And the best advice I could give with that is just woodshed it. Just take it measure by measure, half a measure, 2 notes at a time if you have to. And then just add a note. Once you feel comfortable with those notes. I got a little thumb pick right here. So if you're playing something like that. Anyway, that That one took me forever. Probably took me a good year just to sit there. And this is after I'd been playing for almost 20 years. Just sitting there. Be kind of alternating back and forth. So you can see how it's alternate. Some are picked right away, some are not, you know. And you just get used to going back and, you know, just playing it measure by measure. Same thing with something like Cannonball Rag, you know, it's... That one's a little bit different because it's Merle Travis, and he doesn't use his third finger. It's only these three. Everything he played was these three fingers, so it's just the two. But whatever you're comfortable with. I'll use all three. I think when I play this riff, I do. Yeah. Yeah, I still use most of the two fingers, so. But yeah, that, I hope that answers the question, but I am going to do a whole new video on that technique, and also little tricks and things that you can do in specific keys. Like if you're in E, for example, obviously you play that same thing, which is where you can play anywhere. But you can go up here over an E7 and play off of these 9 notes here on the 7th fret. You can even do it here on a D. If you're on a 4 in A, you can walk up. If you want to, or but you can, the E is the best one that you can do because you can play all those strings, those open strings. Because it's the B and the E, right? So that's one little trick that you can do. I'm trying to think if there's any other ones. Of course, everybody's, you know, standards. And play that kind of stuff. That's not really finger picking, but yeah, I'll have that coming out soon, and as well as the new, you know, the lessons, and keep the channel going. The stream is a little earlier today because, like I said, I have the show. So next week we'll be back on schedule at the same time. And there's going to be there's going to be a smattering of days throughout the year where I'm going to have to do it either early or move it to another day or whatever. But for the most part, I trying to keep it around the same time consistently. Yeah, don't forget too, you can always play some of these finger picking lines here. You don't always have to go up to the chord. You can always play it open, especially if you're in A or E, right? What's playing Rockabilly, probably 50. It's either 50-50. It's either going to be E or A anyway, more than likely. Anything else has happened this week as far as the channel goes? That's pretty much it. Like I said, we finally did it, got to the next level, so I'll be keeping everybody posted. Hopefully I'll be able to get some more content going quicker, and what I'm trying to do is get a bunch of content together, get it all done and recorded. That way I can consistently release stuff in a little bit more often. When will your podcast come out, and when will it be on Spotify? Well, I mean, probably I can put it on Spotify immediately after it comes out. So not exactly sure within the next couple weeks. So it's just going to be talking about music for the most part, but it's also going to be interviewing other local musicians that I've played with around the area and people in the roots music world. And so there will be a video, obviously, on YouTube as well. Um, and I don't know. We'll see how it goes. Whether it's going to be half hour, some will be longer. That other, I'm still kind of navigating that, figure out what how long it's going to go out. I try to keep it at no longer than an hour, but you know how conversations go; they could spiral into 3 4 hours if you're not careful. Um, but yeah, I can put it on Spotify immediately after that. I think so, anyway. I don't see why not. Our music is on there. That's easy enough. Um, and then Spotify, I've never dealt with them directly or how to do it as far as putting the video part up there. I know audio is easy, but I assume anybody can do it. Cool, awesome. Glad to hear it. Yeah, just kind of trying to diversify as much as possible and have a bunch of different content. And um, podcasts are relatively easy to make in comparison to these lesson videos where you have to do the tab and the editing and all of that stuff. But I like doing it. I love making, especially the little intros with all the TV effects, and it's where my computer uh, try to flex my editing skills a little bit. As far as, and then we have, of course, the new album coming out, hopefully soon. We still got to get in the studio and finish recording. Got about maybe three, I think it's 3 songs left to kind of finish up as far as the writing goes. And then we'll just learn them, go in, knock them out. We're usually pretty good, 2 or 3 takes a song, and unless it's some silly, complicated thing, but then that's my fault if it is. So I become a big fan if it's not, if it starts to get too many takes, I'm just okay, just let's just simplify it and try to figure out a better way. There's no reason to be overly complicated. I don't want this to turn into obla di obla da. 72 takes. Um oh, sorry, I jump around a little bit. There's a little riff that anybody can do if you're going from one chord to another. They're sliding the right, sliding down to a seventh, slide to the flat seven. Yeah, and then you can go right into the 4. So that'll be the next, yeah, the next video. Oh, also somebody asked me about some Rancher, the Gretsch Rancher rundown. I'm gonna go over a little bit. Can't really see it here. It's in the corner. I have a couple of shorts on the channel where I show the guitar briefly, but just kind of do a demo rundown of this guitar, the Phoenix, um, the Jazz Box, the Electromatic, Synchromatic, or whatever, and then the Rancher, and yeah. And I know it says in the description there that I have like bass lessons as well. So I haven't done one yet. I did one little short where I talked about some slap techniques, but nothing crazy. So I'll probably do a video on that as well. Just if anybody's interested in, I learned how to play bass as well. Um, just because I love the sound of slap bass. I thought it was fun. And it's cool to know how to really understand it. It really does help if you are playing guitar. You can take the time to play bass, learn bass lines. It can really help you connect chords together. And if you really understand what the bass player is doing, it can really help you with your guitar playing. And it also helps your ear. So you can really start to hear where these chord transitions. And that's what because you're walking, and you're walking up from one chord to the other or down to it or whatever. And it helps so much. And if you have the opportunity, if anybody out there's playing in bands or has an opportunity to do a jam situation, everybody needs a bass player. So um, it's always good to, if you can, get out there and try play a couple of gigs or play some jam situations as a bass player, and just get you, even if you're not familiar with the songs, if you know the form, you can, electric bass, upright, doesn't matter, and it will definitely help you, because obviously you have something like this, which always works, and that chromatically you can walk up, right, for that kind of a feel. And if you're doing a 2-beat, it's usually 1 and 5, right? Right. So, and learning that slap technique is also good for your rhythm as well, to feel where the upbeat is, feel where the downbeat is. And as guitar players, we're always playing, all of these notes on top of everything else. But it also helps your tempo, especially with the swing and the shuffle feel. If you play around enough, you'll start to play with different people. Everyone's got a slightly different feel when it comes to this stuff. Usually with straight rock stuff, everything's pretty even, literally an even keel. Um, it's nothing's really going to change too much. Slight feels and things here and there, but with the shuffles and the train beats, the 2 beats and that sort of thing, that's where you'll really start to hear the differences, especially with drummers and bass players. And everyone plays a little bit. Some people will play usually on top of the beat or really behind the beat. I've always preferred the behind the beat to on the beat. On top of the beat, sometimes it depends on the song, obviously, but sometimes if it's too on top of the beat, it can be the song can, if the drummer isn't aware of it or the band isn't aware of what's going on, the song can creep up, and you end up way faster at the end of the tune than you did when you started. And so the song, and usually where it happens is in solos. Somebody will start taking off on a solo, and then it'll just start click, 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 click. It starts climbing up, and it happens all the time with bands. And so you have to be kind of aware of it to kind of pull it back down and play behind the beat a little bit. Um, and it helps you playing bass, because with the bass you can kind of help control and pull the drummer in one direction. The drummer can also pull the bass player and the band into its own direction. Yeah, obviously you're a band, you're working together. It's not one or the other. So if you're locked in together with the rhythm, that's what you want. And there's going to be ebb and flow in the band tempos. It's not going to be you're not a metronome. You don't want that. So there's going to be a little bit of ebb and flow, but it's just being aware of it and listening and paying attention to it. That's really all it is. And bass playing does help you with that, because a lot of guitar players do tend to forget and kind of play a little faster than they should, and they're way ahead of the beat, or they're lagging behind or something like that. Usually it's ahead. Yeah, so that is basically the bulk of it for this week. Like I said, I haven't had too much time this week to do too much. I just finished out. Actually, I just wrapped up recording the next video right before I jumped on here, and I'll be editing that. I got one more little thing to add to it, um, just some of the playing, and that'll be a real quick video because it's just going to go over the rockabilly soloing ideas, and then Bebopalula after that, and then probably the lessons, and then the podcast will be shortly after that. I just got to get my first guest um, to come on for that. Just got to schedule the time, and I'll try to have a consistent either Sunday or Monday consistent podcast day. That way everybody's gets used to that on the same thing. All right. Well, I guess that's it for now. I'm going to cut this short because I still got to get my car loaded with all of the gear and head out by 4 o'clock. And it's about an hour drive or so before I got to get to the gig. Anyway, thank you guys so much again for tuning in, subscribing, liking. All of that stuff helps. Of course, now we have the memberships and the Patreon stuff, but the thing that helps the most is just liking, sharing the video so other people see it and subscribe it to it, and it gets out there even more. That's the best thing that you can do, and all of that's free, of course. And again, if everybody has any questions or anything they want me to cover, we can go over that in a video, possibly, or over a live stream. Oh, you're very welcome. I really do appreciate it. I'm stoked. I'm so glad. I never thought the channel would even get to this point. So I'm very happy about that. And yeah, thank you guys so much again. And if I don't see you later this week, I might do an impromptu stream. I don't know. I was planning on doing one this week, but I didn't get around to doing it. But if not, anyway, we'll see you guys next week, and hopefully I'll have a new at least one video out next week at some point. So thanks again. Have a good one. See you guys next time.